Somewhere along a silent coastline, a single light waits in the dark. It does not call out, it does not move, and yet, far beyond the horizon, someone depends on it. You walk slowly toward it, the sound of the ocean steady beside you, waves rising and falling in a quiet rhythm. The air is cool, carrying the scent of salt and distance. Ahead, the lighthouse stands, tall, still, unchanging against the night sky. There are no voices here, only wind, stone, and the soft echo of water below. You reach the base of the tower, your hand brushing against its surface, rough, cold, enduring. Inside, a narrow path rises, turning slowly upward toward a small flame that must never fade. Tonight, you will not rush. You will not chase anything. You will simply remain, step by step, breath by breath, within the quiet life of an ancient lighthouse keeper. You will climb, you will tend the light, you will listen, and you will rest. As the night stretches gently around you, and as the ocean continues its endless motion, you may begin to feel that nothing here is urgent, nothing is demanding. Only calm, only presence, only the steady rhythm of a life lived in silence, guiding others through the dark. You walk slowly along the coastline, your steps soft, measured, unhurried. The ground beneath you feels firm, yet uneven, shaped by time and by the steady presence of the sea. Small stones shift slightly under your feet, not enough to disturb you, only enough to remind you that you are moving. The air is cool, gentle against your skin, carrying a faint trace of salt and something older, something quiet and constant. You take a slow breath. The scent fills your lungs, then leaves just as softly. To your side, the ocean moves. You do not need to look at it to know. Its presence is steady, unbroken, a slow rhythm that continues without effort. Waves rise, then fall, again and again. Never in a hurry, never stopping. You continue forward, your gaze soft, resting somewhere ahead but not fixed on anything. The path stretches quietly before you, a narrow line between land and water, between stillness and motion. Far in the distance, something begins to take shape. At first, it is only a shadow, tall, thin, standing apart from everything else. You do not move faster. There is no need. Step by step, it becomes clearer. The lighthouse, still and silent, rising from the edge of the land. You pause for a moment, not because you must, but because the space allows it. Your body settles, your breath slows, matching the rhythm around you. The wind moves lightly, passing across your face, then fading again. You continue walking. The shape ahead grows slowly, never suddenly, never sharply. Its surface begins to show, stone, aged, steady. It does not shine. It does not call attention to itself. It simply stands, as it has always stood. The path curves slightly, guiding you closer, without effort, without decision. Your steps remain even, one after the other, each one the same as the last. There is comfort in this repetition. Nothing changes too quickly. Nothing surprises you. The ocean continues beside you, its sound low, almost distant, even though it is near. You hear it, but you do not focus on it. It becomes part of everything else, part of the air, part of your breath, part of the moment itself. The lighthouse now stands clearly before you, tall, cylindrical, its walls thick and solid. You can see where the stone has worn, softened slightly by years of wind and quiet exposure. There are no sharp edges. Everything feels rounded, settled, as if time has gently passed over it, again and again. You slow your steps, not to stop, but to allow the moment to stretch. The ground near the tower changes, becoming more stable, more compact, as if shaped by many quiet footsteps before yours. You are not the first to walk here, and you will not be the last. The entrance to the lighthouse comes into view, simple, unadorned. A wooden door, set into the stone, held in place by time and use. You approach it, your movement still calm, your breathing steady. The air here feels slightly different, less open, more contained. The wind softens as it reaches the tower, moving around it rather than through it. You stop just a few steps away, not out of hesitation, but out of stillness. Your body comes to rest naturally, as if it understands that there is no need to continue yet. You take another slow breath, feeling the quiet settle deeper within you. The ocean remains behind you, steady, unchanged. The lighthouse stands before you, equally steady, equally unchanged. For a moment, you exist between the two, movement and stillness, sound and silence. You lift your hand slowly, bringing it toward the surface of the stone wall. Your fingers make contact, lightly, without pressure. The texture is rough, but not harsh, cool, but not cold. It holds the memory of the day, yet it now rests in the calm of evening. You keep your hand there for a moment, feeling nothing more than what is present. No thought, no expectation, only contact. Then, slowly, you lower your hand. The moment passes, without needing to be held. The lighthouse remains before you, closed, quiet, waiting. You do not open it yet. There is still time. You shift your weight slightly, feeling the ground beneath you, steady, unchanging. Your breath moves again, in and out, slow, even. Behind you, the waves continue their endless motion. Before you, the lighthouse remains still. Nothing asks you anything. Nothing requires your attention. You are simply here,
standing between sea and stone, between movement and rest. The sky above begins to deepen, its colors softening, fading gently into darker tones. There is no sudden change, only a gradual shift, barely noticeable, yet constant. The light around you dims slightly, not enough to hide anything, only enough to quiet the space. You remain still, allowing the moment to settle fully. There is no next step yet, no urgency to continue. Only this, arrival, a quiet beginning that asks no more than your presence. And as you stand there, breathing slowly, feeling the calm of the place around you, the night continues to unfold, softly and without end.
You remain near the base of the tower, your body still, your breath slow and steady. The door stands before you, closed, unchanging. Behind you, the ocean continues its gentle motion, waves rising and falling in a rhythm that does not break. You do not turn to look at it. You already know it is there. Its presence fills the space, softly, without effort. You take a slow breath. Cool air enters, then leaves, just as gently. In this quiet place, nothing calls out for attention. And yet, something here matters. Not loudly, not visibly, but steadily. You lift your gaze slightly, allowing your eyes to move toward the height of the tower. It rises above you, simple in form, yet firm and constant. There are no decorations, no bright markings, only stone placed upon stone, built with care and intention. It does not exist to be admired, it exists to serve. You remain still, feeling the quiet weight of that idea settle gently within you. Somewhere far beyond the horizon, where your eyes cannot reach, there are others. You cannot see them, you cannot hear them, and yet they move across the water. Slowly, carefully, guided by currents and by time. The sea beneath them is wide and often without markers. No clear paths, no visible lines, only open space, stretching in every direction. And in that space, a single light becomes something important. Not bright enough to change the night, not strong enough to fill the sky, only enough to be seen. You lower your gaze again, returning to the present moment, to the tower before you. This place holds that light, quietly, without recognition, without reward. You take another slow breath, allowing the thought to settle, without following it too far. The lighthouse does not move, it does not search, it does not speak, and yet it guides. Not through force, but through presence. It remains where it is, steady, unchanging, allowing others to find their way, simply by existing. You shift your weight slightly, feeling the ground beneath your feet, firm, reliable. There is something familiar in this, a quiet kind of responsibility that does not demand attention, but exists all the same. You imagine the light above, not yet seen from where you stand, but already known. It will rise, slowly, when the time comes. It will shine, softly, without effort. And far away, someone will notice, not as a sudden event, but as a gentle reassurance, a small point in the distance that tells them they are not lost. You do not need to see them. They do not need to see you. The connection exists through the light alone. You remain still, your breathing calm, your body relaxed. The idea does not create pressure. It does not create urgency, only awareness, a quiet understanding that even in stillness, something can matter. The wind moves softly around the tower, sliding along the stone, then fading again. It carries no message, only motion. You listen without listening, allowing the sound to blend into everything else. The ocean continues behind you, unchanged, steady, repeating. The tower remains before you, just as steady. Nothing here competes, nothing interrupts. Everything exists together, in quiet balance. You take another slow breath, longer this time, then let it go slowly. The air moves through you, without resistance. You begin to understand, not with words, but with feeling, that this place is not defined by action. It is defined by presence, by being here, by remaining, by not leaving. The lighthouse does not chase the ships. It does not follow them across the water. It simply stays. And because it stays, it becomes something reliable, something that can be trusted even from far away. You let your eyes rest on the door once more, its surface quiet, its edges softened by time. Many have stood here before, not in a hurry, not with noise, only with the same slow awareness that you now feel. This place has always been like this. It does not change quickly. It does not need to. Its purpose remains the same, even as everything else moves around it. You take another slow breath, and as you do, you begin to feel that the importance of this place is not something that needs to be explained. It is something that is simply felt, a quiet certainty resting beneath everything. The ocean moves, the wind passes, the night deepens slowly, and the lighthouse remains, unmoving, unwavering, present. You stand there, between these elements, your body still, your breath soft, allowing the meaning of this place to settle gently within you. No urgency, no pressure, only quiet purpose, existing as naturally as the sea itself. And somewhere far beyond the horizon, though unseen, that quiet presence will be enough. You remain near the base of the lighthouse, your body still, your breathing slow and steady. The night has settled more fully now, not darker in a sudden way, but softer, as if the light itself has gently stepped back. The tower stands before you, unchanged, its presence quiet and certain. You take a slow breath. The air moves in, cool, slightly heavy with the scent of the sea, then leaves your body just as softly. Your gaze lifts gradually, without effort. The shape of the lighthouse rises upward, not sharply, but with a smooth, continuous line. Wider at the base, narrowing slowly as it reaches toward the sky. There are no sudden changes in form, no interruptions, only a steady transition from ground to height. You let your eyes follow this line, moving upward until the upper section fades into the night. You do not strain to see it clearly. You allow it to remain partially hidden as part of the stillness. Then your attention returns, slowly, to what is close, to the stone. You step forward, just enough to feel its presence more fully. Your hand lifts with a slow, familiar motion, and your fingers rest against the surface. The contact is gentle. There is no need for pressure. The stone meets you with quiet resistance, firm and grounded. You begin to move your hand slowly along the wall, feeling the subtle variations beneath your fingertips. Each stone is slightly different. Some feel smoother, worn by years of wind and air. Others hold a faint roughness, small edges that have softened but not disappeared. The surface is not perfectly even, and yet it feels complete, balanced. Each piece placed with intention, fitting into the next, without space, without looseness. You pause your hand for a moment, allowing it to rest against a single stone. It feels cool, but not cold. It holds a quiet memory of the day's warmth, though that warmth has already begun to fade. You take another slow breath. The air brushes lightly across your face, moving around the tower, not striking it, but flowing along its curve. You notice this now. The shape of the lighthouse does not resist the wind. It receives it. The rounded walls guide the air, allowing it to pass without interruption. There are no corners, no edges to catch or hold, only a smooth surface that lets everything move freely. You lower your hand slowly and take a small step back. Your eyes remain on the structure, now seeing it not only as a form, but as something shaped by purpose. Every part of it exists for a reason, nothing added, without need, nothing removed that would weaken its balance. You begin to walk slowly along the base of the tower, your steps following the curve of the tower. The movement is natural, circular, without effort. The ground beneath you feels slightly firmer here, as if shaped by repeated footsteps, quietly passing over time. You do not rush. Each step matches your breathing, slow, even, unbroken. As you move, your eyes continue to observe, not searching, only noticing. The stones remain consistent, their placement steady, their pattern subtle. There are faint lines where one meets another, but no gaps, no weakness. The tower holds itself together, not through force, but through alignment. Each stone supports the next, sharing the weight, distributing it evenly, from top to bottom. You pause again, your body returning to stillness. You lift your gaze upward once more, allowing your eyes to follow the full height again. This time, you notice something else: the thickness. The walls are not thin. They do not depend on delicacy. They depend on strength, on depth, on the ability to hold without strain. Inside, though unseen, you sense the space that must exist, a narrow passage protected by these thick walls, shielded from the wind, from the shifting air, from the changes outside. The design does not separate you from the world. It protects you within it. You take another slow breath. The idea settles quietly, without needing to expand. You shift your position slightly, bringing your attention closer to the ground. Where the tower meets the earth, there is no sharp division. The ground rests naturally, as if it has always belonged here. The stones support it, without movement, without change. You bend your knees slightly, lowering your perspective, not fully, only enough to see the lower stones more clearly. They appear larger, heavier, set with even more care. The foundation holds everything above. Without it, nothing could stand. You remain in this lowered position for a moment, your breathing steady, your body at ease. Then, slowly, you rise again. The movement is smooth, without effort. You return to stillness once more. The lighthouse stands as it did before, unchanged, steady, quiet. You begin to sense that its design is not only physical, it is also rhythmic, balanced between weight and openness, between protection and exposure. It does not fight the elements, it exists within them. The wind passes, the sea moves, the night deepens, and the tower remains not separate, but in quiet harmony with everything around it. You take another slow breath. Your chest rises, then falls, matching the steady presence of the structure. There is no urgency here, no need to move forward yet, only this moment of understanding that the lighthouse was not built quickly. It was shaped with patience, with repetition, with time. Each stone placed, then another, until the form emerged, not at once, but slowly, as everything here does. You step closer once more, your hand rising again, resting lightly against the wall. This time, you do not move it. You simply remain in contact. The stillness flows through the stone, into your hand, into your body. There is nothing to change, nothing to adjust, only presence. After a moment, you lower your hand again. The contact ends, but the feeling remains. You stand quietly before the lighthouse, your breath slow, your body at ease. And within this quiet, you begin to understand that the strength of this place does not come from force, but from patience, from balance, and from a design that allows everything to remain exactly as it is. And as the wind moves once more softly around the tower, and the sea continues its endless rhythm, the lighthouse stands, unchanged, holding its form, in calm and in time.
You remain standing before the door, your body still, your breathing slow and steady. The surface of the wood rests quietly within the stone, aged, worn, yet firm. Nothing about it asks to be opened. Nothing resists either. It simply waits. You take a slow breath. Cool air moves in, then leaves, without effort. Your hand begins to rise, gently, without urgency. Your fingers come to rest on the surface of the wood. The texture is different from the stone, smoother, yet marked by time. Small lines run across it, subtle traces of use, of quiet contact, repeated again and again. You do not push yet. You remain still for a moment, your hand resting there, feeling the presence of the wood. Then, slowly, you apply a gentle pressure. The door begins to move. Not suddenly, not sharply. It opens with a soft resistance, a quiet shift, as if it has done this many times before. The space behind it reveals itself gradually. Cooler air, still, enclosed. You step forward, one slow movement, crossing the threshold. The sound of the ocean softens behind you, not disappearing, only becoming more distant, more contained. You pause just inside the doorway. The light is dim, not dark, but reduced. Your eyes adjust without effort. The space around you is simple. Stone walls, curving gently, rising upward. A narrow path begins near your feet, forming the first step of a spiral. You remain still for a moment, allowing the transition to settle. Outside, the air moved freely. Here, everything is held, contained, protected, quiet. You take another slow breath. The air feels slightly cooler here, more stable, unchanging. Your hand moves lightly along the inner wall, your fingers brushing the stone. The texture is familiar, yet closer, more present. You begin to move. Your foot lifts and finds the first step, then another. The spiral begins. You do not rush. Each step is placed carefully, one after the other, in a slow, steady rhythm. Your breathing follows naturally. In, step. Out, step. The movement becomes simple, repetitive, comforting. The curve of the wall guides you, without thought, without decision. You do not need to choose a direction. The path is already there. As you climb, your hand remains close to the stone, sometimes touching, sometimes resting just above it. The wall supports you quietly, without effort. The space remains silent. Only the soft sound of your steps, light, measured, repeating. The air does not move here. It remains still, held within the structure. Your breathing becomes more noticeable, not heavier, only present. In and out, slow and even. The steps continue, each one similar, each one predictable. There is no change in pace, no need to look ahead. You simply follow the movement as it unfolds. The spiral rises gently, never steep, never sudden, only continuous. You pass small sections of the wall where the stone feels slightly different, subtle variations in texture, in shape, in time. You notice them, but do not pause. The movement continues, step and step and step. Time begins to soften here, not measured in minutes, but in motion, in repetition, in breath. The outside world fades further, not lost,
only distant. The sound of the sea becomes faint, blending into memory. The tower holds you now within its quiet space. After some time, without knowing how long, you slow slightly, not to stop, but to feel. Your hand presses gently against the wall, just enough to sense its steadiness. It does not move. It does not shift. It remains exactly as it is. You continue upward. The spiral narrows slightly, almost unnoticeable, but present. The air feels the same, cool, calm, unchanged. You take another slow breath. Your body remains relaxed. There is no strain, no effort beyond the simple movement of climbing. The repetition carries you. You reach a small landing, a pause in the spiral, a moment of stillness. You stop there, your feet resting fully, your body settling. You do not look around quickly. You allow the space to reveal itself slowly. The wall curves gently around you, unchanged. The steps continue above, waiting. You place your hand again against the stone, feeling its presence. Solid, reliable. You listen. There is almost no sound, only your breath, and the faint memory of the sea far below. You take another breath, slightly deeper, then let it go. The moment is complete. You begin to move again. The climb continues just as before. Step, and step, and step. Nothing has changed, and yet everything feels settled. The tower does not guide you with force. It guides you through structure, through simplicity, through repetition. You follow without effort, without thought, only movement, only breath. As you rise higher, the space remains consistent, unchanged, steady. The path continues, leading you, slowly, towards the light above. And within this quiet motion, this steady climb, you become part of the tower itself, moving through it at the same calm rhythm in which it was built.
You continue your slow ascent. One step, then another. Your movement steady, unchanged. The spiral remains consistent, curving gently around you, guiding you upward, without effort. Your breathing follows the same rhythm. In, step, out, step. The air remains cool, still, held within the stone walls. Nothing shifts, nothing interrupts. Only the quiet repetition of climbing. After some time, without measuring it, you begin to sense a difference, not in the steps, but in the space ahead. A faint softness, a subtle openness, barely noticeable, yet present. You continue upward, your pace unchanged. The curve of the wall begins to widen slightly, the space opening, almost imperceptibly. You take another step, then another, and then the spiral ends. You reach a final step, and your foot settles onto a level surface. You stop. Your body comes to rest naturally, without effort, without intention. The space around you feels different, more open, yet still contained. The walls no longer press close. They rise around you, forming a circular room. Quiet, and elevated. You do not move forward immediately. You remain where you are, allowing your breathing to slow further, your body to settle. The air here feels slightly lighter, as if it carries more space within it. A faint glow touches the room, soft, diffused, not yet strong. You lift your gaze slowly. Windows encircle the space, tall, clear, revealing the night beyond. The horizon stretches in every direction, dark, calm, endless. You do not focus on any one point. Your eyes rest gently, taking in the openness. Without effort, you take a slow breath. The air moves differently here, just enough to be felt, then gone again. At the center of the room, a simple structure waits, still, unlit, prepared. You move toward it, your steps soft, unhurried. The floor beneath you is smooth, warm by time, yet steady. Each step carries you closer, without change in pace. You stop beside the structure, your hands resting loosely at your sides. You do not begin immediately. You pause, allowing the space, the height, the silence to settle within you. This place feels different. Not louder, not brighter, only more open, as if the world outside and the quiet within meet here, in balance. You take another slow breath. Then, your hands begin to move. Gently, without urgency, you reach toward the elements before you, touching each part, one at a time. The surface is cool, smooth, carefully shaped. Everything here is simple, nothing excessive, only what is needed. You adjust a small piece, moving it slightly, aligning it with care. The movement is slow, precise, without tension. You pause again, your hands resting lightly. Then you continue. Another small adjustment, then another. Each action follows the last, naturally, without thought. You do not rush. There is no reason to. The process is familiar, repeated, understood through movement, not through words. You reach for what is needed, bringing it closer, placing it carefully. The motion remains steady, consistent, calm. The room holds your actions quietly. Nothing echoes loudly. Nothing breaks the stillness. Only soft contact, gentle placement, and breath. You take another slow breath. Your chest rises, then falls, as your hands continue their quiet work. The flame is not yet there, only preparation, only readiness. And in that preparation, there is purpose. You adjust the final piece, your fingers moving slowly, then coming to rest. The structure before you is now complete, waiting, just as the room was waiting, just as the tower was waiting. You remain still for a moment.
your hands lowering gently. Your gaze rests on the center, soft, unfocused. Then, with a slow and familiar motion, you begin. A small change appears, subtle, almost unnoticed. A faint warmth, a soft presence. You do not react quickly. You allow it to form, naturally, without force. The flame begins, small, steady. It does not rise sharply. It does not flicker wildly. It settles into place, as if it has always been there. You watch, your body still, your breathing slow. The light grows gently, filling the space, not brightly, but softly. It touches the walls, the floor, your hands, without overwhelming anything. You remain where you are, your posture relaxed, your gaze calm. The flame continues, steady, quiet. You extend your hand slightly, adjusting it once more. A small movement, barely needed. Then you withdraw your hand, returning to stillness. The work is complete. Nothing more is required. The light exists now, on its own. You step back slightly, your movement slow, giving the space room to breathe. The lighthouse room holds the glow, evenly, gently. Beyond the windows, the night remains, unchanged, endless. And in this quiet height, you stand, having brought the light into being, not through effort, but through calm, through patience, through presence. And as the flame continues its soft, steady motion, the lighthouse begins to fulfill its purpose, in silence and without end.
You remain in the lantern room, your body still, your breathing slow and even. The flame beside you moves gently, steady, unchanging. Its light spreads softly across the glass, then outward, into the night beyond. You do not focus on it now. It is already doing its work. Your attention begins to move outward, toward the horizon. You take a slow step, then another, approaching the window. Your movement is quiet, unhurried. You come to a stop near the glass, your gaze resting beyond it. The ocean stretches wide, dark, and calm. The line where water meets sky is faint, soft, almost blending together. You do not search quickly. You allow your eyes to adjust, to settle into the distance. Watching here is not about looking hard. It is about noticing, slowly, without strain. You take a slow breath. Your chest rises, then falls. Your gaze remains steady. At first, everything appears the same. Waves move, their rhythm consistent, predictable. The surface of the water reflects small traces of light, soft, scattered. Nothing stands out, and that is expected. Most of the time, the horizon remains calm. You continue to watch without changing your posture. Your eyes move slightly, not jumping, only drifting from one part of the distance to another. You begin to notice patterns, the way the waves repeat, the way the light reflects, the way the darkness settles evenly. These patterns become familiar, not memorized, but felt. And because they are familiar, anything different becomes easier to notice. You shift your gaze slightly to the left, resting it on a distant point. At first, nothing changes. Then, very faintly, you see a small light. It does not move quickly. It does not flicker strongly. It remains distant, steady, barely visible. A ship far away. You do not react. There is no need. You simply observe. The light moves slowly, almost blending with the rhythm of the waves. You take a slow breath. This is expected. Ships pass at a distance, guided quietly by the light behind you. You let your gaze drift again, away from the small light, back across the horizon. You continue watching. Time passes without being counted. Then, something slightly different appears. Not a light this time, a shadow, low and subtle. You narrow your focus slightly, not with tension, but with gentle attention. The shape moves differently from the waves, slower, more steady. You watch it without leaning forward, without changing your breathing. It could be drifting wood. It could be a small boat without light. You remain still. You continue to observe. After a moment, the shape shifts, just enough to reveal its form. A small vessel, moving quietly, without signal. You do not act quickly. You do not rush to any conclusion. You simply note it. Your awareness holds it without pressure. You take another slow breath. Then your gaze moves again, continuing its calm sweep across the horizon. Watching is not about focusing on one thing. It is about maintaining a wide, steady awareness. You notice another change, subtle, almost invisible. The reflection of the flame on the water, slightly altered. The waves have shifted direction, just a little. You do not need to analyze it deeply. You simply recognize it. The sea is never completely still. It moves in small, continuous ways. Your role is not to control it, only to notice when something moves beyond its natural rhythm. You rest your hand lightly near the frame of the window, not gripping, only touching. The surface is cool, smooth, steady. Your body remains relaxed. Your breathing remains slow. In and out. You continue watching. A faint mist begins to form in the distance, barely visible at first. A soft blur where the horizon begins to fade. You do not react quickly. Mist comes and goes. You simply observe how it moves, how it settles. It spreads slowly, lowering visibility, but not completely hiding the sea. You take a slow breath.
The light behind you continues to shine, steady, unchanged. Even as the mist forms, the light remains. This is part of the purpose, not to remove the darkness, but to remain visible within it. You shift your gaze slightly again, scanning another part of the horizon. A second light appears, fainter than the first, further away. You watch it for a moment. It moves steadily, following a slow path. You do not need to track it constantly, only to be aware that it is there. Your attention softens again, widening, returning to the whole view. The ocean, the sky, the faint lights, the moving shapes, all existing together in quiet motion. You take another slow breath. There is no urgency in this watching, no sudden decisions, only a continuous, gentle awareness. You remain near the window, your posture unchanged, your presence steady. The unexpected does not arrive suddenly. It appears slowly, quietly, within the familiar. And because you are calm, because you are patient, you notice it, not through effort, but through stillness. The horizon remains before you, wide, dark, endless. And you continue to watch, softly, without tension, without need to act, only to be aware, as the night unfolds in its own steady and quiet way.
You remain near the window, your body still, your breathing slow and even. The flame behind you continues its gentle motion, steady, unchanging, casting a soft glow across the room. You do not turn toward it. Its presence is already part of everything. Your attention rests outward, beyond the glass, into the quiet expanse of the night. The ocean stretches wide before you, dark, yet not empty. Its surface moves slowly, rising and falling in a rhythm that feels endless. You take a slow breath. The air near the window carries a faint coolness, a slight movement, just enough to be felt, then gone again. You do not lean forward. You remain where you are, allowing the environment to come to you. The horizon rests far in the distance, soft, barely defined. Sky and water meet without a clear line, blending into one another in muted tones of deep blue and quiet gray. There is no sharp contrast. Everything feels softened, as if the night itself has gently covered the world. You let your eyes drift slowly from one part of the horizon to another, never fixing, never searching, only observing without effort. The waves continue their motion, subtle, consistent. You begin to notice their pattern. A slow rise, a quiet crest, then a gentle fall. Again and again. The rhythm does not change. It does not surprise you. It remains steady, as it always has. You take another slow breath, in and out. Your breathing begins to follow the ocean, not intentionally, but naturally. The two rhythms align, softly, without force. A faint sound reaches you, low, distant, almost blending with silence, the sound of water touching the shore below. It does not crash, it does not break sharply. It arrives and leaves in a slow, even cycle. You listen without focusing,
allowing the sound to remain in the background, part of the space, not separate from it. The wind moves lightly across the outside of the tower. You cannot see it, but you feel its presence. A soft current, passing along the glass, then continuing into the open night. It does not push, it does not rush, it simply moves, as everything here does. You take a slow breath. The air remains cool, consistent, unchanging. There is no sudden shift in temperature, no discomfort, only a gentle balance between warmth and coolness. You allow your gaze to lower slightly, toward the darker surface of the water below. The reflections of the light shift gently, breaking, then reforming with each movement of the waves. Small lines of brightness appear, then disappear, never remaining in one place. The movement is continuous, yet never chaotic, always soft, always predictable. You remain still, your posture relaxed, your shoulders at ease. There is nothing to adjust, nothing to correct, only to remain. The sky above holds a quiet depth, not completely dark, but layered, with subtle variations of tone. Faint stars begin to appear, small, distant, barely visible. They do not shine brightly, they simply exist within the vastness. You do not count them, you do not focus on any one of them. They remain part of the whole, just as the waves, just as the wind. Time begins to feel different here, not measured, not tracked, only experienced. The environment does not change quickly. It unfolds slowly, almost without notice. You take another slow breath. Your chest rises, then falls, matching the quiet pace around you. The lighthouse holds its place within this environment, not separate, not dominant, but present. The stone walls behind you, the flame beside you, the ocean before you, all exist together in quiet balance. Nothing interrupts, nothing demands attention. Everything flows in a steady, gentle way. You shift your gaze slightly again. A faint mist begins to form far out at sea, barely visible, soft, almost like a shadow. It moves slowly, spreading across the surface, without sharp edges. You do not react, you simply observe how it blends into the horizon, how it softens the distance even further. The world becomes quieter, not in sound, but in clarity. Details fade gently, leaving only shapes and motion. You take another breath, in and out. The rhythm remains, the environment remains. Nothing changes suddenly, nothing pulls you away. Your body feels lighter now, as if supported by the stillness around you. Your thoughts slow, not forced, only settling, as everything else does. The waves continue, the wind passes, the light glows softly behind you, and the night stretches on, without end. You remain where you are, not waiting, not expecting, only present. The environment holds you, gently, without effort. There is no need to move, no need to think, only to breathe and to remain in this quiet space where everything flows, slowly, steadily, and without interruption. And as the ocean continues its endless motion, and the night deepens ever so slightly, you feel yourself settling further into the calm, into the stillness, into the soft rhythm of a world that asks nothing and gives everything in silence.
You remain within the lantern room, your body relaxed, your breathing slow and even. The light beside you continues its gentle glow, steady, soft, unchanging. It does not demand attention. It simply exists, quietly fulfilling its purpose. You stand for a moment longer, allowing your breath to settle fully before beginning again. Then, slowly, you shift your weight, a small movement, barely noticeable. Your feet adjust slightly on the smooth floor, finding a more grounded position. You take a soft step closer to the flame, your movement calm, unhurried. Your hand begins to rise, gently, without tension. Your fingers approach the structure that holds the light, not quickly, but with quiet familiarity. You have done this before, not in memory, but in rhythm. Your fingertips come to rest lightly against a small surface near the flame, warm, not hot, just enough to feel alive. You pause there, allowing your hand to sense the temperature, the subtle energy of the light. Then, slowly, you begin to adjust. A small movement, a slight turn, barely visible, yet meaningful. The flame responds gently, not rising, not shrinking, only settling more evenly. You watch it for a moment, your gaze soft, unfocused. There is no need to correct further. The adjustment is complete. Your hand remains still, hovering, then slowly lowers. You take a slow breath, in and out. The light continues, steady, unchanged. You step slightly to the side, your movement quiet, your feet making almost no sound. The floor beneath you feels smooth, worn by time, but stable. You reach for another part of the structure, a small section that holds what is needed for the flame to continue. Your fingers move with care, touching, checking, not forcing. You notice the level, not through measurement, but through familiarity. You pause, then make a small adjustment, a gentle movement, controlled, slow. Nothing spills, nothing shifts suddenly. Everything remains calm. You take another breath. The air in the room feels slightly warmer near the flame, but still balanced, never overwhelming. You withdraw your hand slowly, returning to stillness. The light continues, just as before. You step slightly back, allowing space between you and the flame. Your body relaxes again, your shoulders soft, your posture natural. Your attention begins to drift, not away, but downward, toward the sound below, the ocean. You do not move to the window yet. You remain where you are, listening. At first, the sound is faint, a soft presence, barely distinct. Then, as you allow your awareness to settle, it becomes clearer. Waves, moving against the shore. Far below, you take a slow breath. The rhythm is steady, not loud,
not sharp, only a quiet cycle, arrival and release. Again and again, you let your breathing follow it, in as the wave approaches, out as it fades away. Your body remains still, yet deeply connected to the movement below. You step slowly toward the window now. One step, then another. Your movement remains soft, almost blending with the stillness. You stop near the glass, your gaze lowering slightly toward the dark surface beneath. You cannot see every wave clearly, but you can feel them through sound, through rhythm. You rest your hand lightly against the window frame, not gripping, only touching. The surface is cool, steady, unchanging. You take another breath. The ocean continues its motion, never stopping, never rushing. You listen carefully now, not with effort, but with presence. There are subtle differences. Some waves are slightly stronger, some softer. Some arrive closer together, others more spaced. The variation is gentle, never breaking the overall rhythm. You notice these changes without needing to act, only to be aware. You remain there for a while, your body still, your breathing aligned with the sea. Then, slowly, your attention returns to the flame behind you. You turn, not quickly, but with a soft, unhurried motion. The light remains steady. It has not changed. It does not need you constantly, only occasionally. You step back toward it, your feet moving quietly across the floor. You reach out once more, your hand rising gently. A small check, a light adjustment, nothing more. The movement is minimal, almost invisible. The flame responds, not dramatically, only settling again into its quiet balance. You withdraw your hand and take a step back. Your body returns to stillness. You take another slow breath, in and out. The cycle continues, checking, adjusting, listening, resting. No urgency, no pressure, only repetition, only rhythm. You move once more toward the window, drawn not by need, but by calm. The ocean remains below, steady, unchanged. The sound continues, soft, predictable. You listen again, allowing the rhythm to carry your attention without effort. Time passes, but it does not feel like passing. It feels like continuation. The light behind you glows. The sea below moves, and you remain between them, maintaining one, listening to the other. Both steady, both endless. You take another slow breath. Your body feels lighter now, more settled, more at ease. There is nothing to complete, nothing to finish, only to continue. The small actions repeat, gently, naturally, without interruption. And within this repetition, you begin to feel that the work itself is not separate from the calm, but part of it. Each movement, each breath, each quiet adjustment blends into the rhythm of the night. And as the flame continues its soft glow, and the ocean continues its endless motion, you remain steady, present, and at ease within the simple and quiet act of maintaining the light and listening to the sea.
You remain inside the lantern room, the light steady behind you, the ocean breathing softly below. Nothing has changed, and yet everything feels more settled. Your body stands at ease, your shoulders relaxed, your breathing slow and even. There is no urgency now, no task waiting, only the continuation of quiet presence. You take a slow breath, in and out. The air moves gently through your chest, without resistance, without effort. You do not move immediately. You allow yourself to remain still just for a moment longer, the kind of stillness that does not feel forced but natural, as if your body has found the place it was meant to rest in. The light continues its soft glow, touching the walls, the floor, and the edges of the glass around you. You do not look directly at it. You feel it. Its presence is constant, unchanging, reassuring. You take another slow breath. Then, gently, you begin to move again. Not because you must, but because movement and stillness exist together in the same quiet rhythm. You step slowly across the room, your feet making almost no sound against the floor. Each step is soft, measured, without intention to arrive quickly anywhere. You reach a small, familiar place, a simple surface, used for small tasks, quiet routines. Your hand rests lightly upon it. The surface feels cool, steady, unchanged by time. You pause. Then, without thinking, you begin a small, simple action. You straighten an object, barely moving it, aligning it just slightly. The movement is minimal, yet complete. You withdraw your hand and remain still again. There is no need to do more. You take a breath. The rhythm continues. A small action, followed by stillness. You turn slightly, your gaze drifting toward the window once more. The ocean remains as it was, dark, calm, endless. The sound continues, soft, predictable, unchanging. You do not step closer this time. You observe from where you are, allowing distance, allowing space. Your thoughts begin to move slowly, gently, not racing, not forming clear patterns, only drifting like the mist far out at sea. You do not hold on to them. You do not explore them. They appear and pass without effort. You take another slow breath, in and out. Your body feels heavier now, not in discomfort, but in rest, as if each breath settles you deeper into the moment. You shift your weight slightly, just enough to feel balance again. A small adjustment, nothing more. The room remains quiet. The light remains steady. The ocean continues its distant rhythm. Everything is as it should be. You move again, slowly crossing to another part of the room. Your steps are familiar now, guided without thought. You pause near the flame once more, your gaze resting softly upon it. It moves gently, not flickering, only breathing in its own quiet way.
You raise your hand slightly, not to adjust, only to feel the warmth. Your fingers hover, then lower again. No change is needed. The light continues, perfectly balanced. You step back. Your body returns to stillness once more. You take another breath. Time continues, but without weight. There is no sense of passing minutes, only a continuous flow of presence and quiet repetition. You move again toward the window, this time taking one step closer than before. Your gaze lowers slightly toward the faint movement below. The waves continue their slow rise and fall, unchanged, steady. You listen. The sound reaches you, soft, almost blending with silence. You allow it to fill the space within you without effort. Your breathing follows, in and out. A thought appears, soft, distant, a memory, not sharp, not detailed, only a feeling, a warmth, a moment long past. You do not hold it, you do not explore it, you let it pass as gently as it came. Your gaze remains on the ocean, but your focus is soft, unfixed. You step back slowly, returning once more to the center of the room. The cycle continues. Move, pause, breathe, observe, rest. Nothing breaks this rhythm. Nothing interrupts it. You lower yourself slowly, finding a place to sit. The movement is gradual, controlled, without strain. You settle into the position, your body supported, your muscles releasing. Your hands rest loosely, your shoulders soft. You take a deeper breath now, in, holding for just a moment, then out, slowly, completely. The environment remains unchanged, but your experience within it feels deeper, quieter, more still. You do not need to move anymore. You simply sit. The light glows beside you. The ocean moves below. The night stretches beyond, and you remain in between. A small part of the rhythm, not separate, not observing from outside, but within it. You take another slow breath. Your body feels heavier, more relaxed, as if it is gently settling into the space. Your thoughts become fewer, slower, softer. There is no need to follow them, only to let them pass like distant waves. The routine continues, not through action, but through presence. Stillness itself becomes the rhythm. Breathing becomes the rhythm. The environment becomes the guide. Nothing more is needed. Nothing more is expected. You remain seated, your posture relaxed, your breathing slow. The light continues. The ocean continues. The night continues. And you remain quiet, still, at ease, within the gentle repetition of a moment that does not end, only deepens. And as everything continues in its soft, steady rhythm, you feel yourself drifting further into calm, into stillness, into rest, without effort, without resistance, simply carried by the quiet routine of the night.
You remain seated, your body supported, your breathing slow and even. The lantern beside you continues its soft glow, steady, unchanging. The ocean below moves in its quiet rhythm, waves rising and falling without interruption. Nothing asks for your attention. Nothing calls you away. And yet, something here matters. You take a slow breath, in and out. Your chest rises gently, then settles again. Your hands rest loosely, your shoulders relaxed, your posture calm. There is no tension in your body, only a soft awareness that begins to form quietly, without urgency. You lift your gaze slightly, not focusing on any one thing, only allowing your eyes to rest within the space. The lantern room surrounds you, circular, open, balanced. The light remains steady. And beyond the glass, the night stretches endlessly. Somewhere out there, far beyond what you can see, others move. Ships, small against the vastness of the sea, guided not by sight, but by trust. You do not see them clearly. You do not hear them. And yet, you know they are there. You take another slow breath. This knowing does not create pressure. It does not bring urgency. It simply rests within you as a quiet truth. The light behind you continues to glow. It does not ask to be watched constantly. It does not demand your focus. It only requires that it remains steady, present, unchanging. You remain still, feeling this gently settle within you. Responsibility, not as weight, but as presence. Not something to carry, but something to be. You shift slightly, a small movement, barely noticeable. Your body adjusts, finding an even deeper sense of comfort. Your breathing remains slow, in and out. You do not need to check the light immediately. You do not need to look outward constantly. Everything is already in motion, already continuing. Your role is not to control it, only to remain within it. You rise slowly from where you sit, your movement smooth, unforced. Your feet meet the floor gently, your posture steady. You take a few slow steps, moving toward the lantern, not quickly, not with concern, only with quiet intention. You stop beside it, your gaze resting softly upon the flame. It moves gently, not flickering, only breathing in its own steady rhythm. You observe it for a moment. Nothing has changed. Nothing needs correction. And still, you remain present. You lift your hand slightly, hovering near the structure, not touching, only close enough to feel the warmth. You pause, then slowly lower your hand again. No adjustment is needed. The act of checking is enough. You take a slow breath. This is how the responsibility moves, not through constant action, but through quiet awareness, through presence that does not sleep completely, yet does not strain. You turn slightly, your gaze moving once more toward the horizon. The ocean remains, dark, calm, unchanged. A faint light appears in the distance, small, steady. A ship, far away. You do not follow it closely. You simply acknowledge it. It is there. And because it is there,
The light you maintain has meaning. You take another breath, in and out. The awareness deepens, not sharply, only settling, like the night itself. You walk slowly toward the window, your steps soft, measured. You rest your hand lightly near the frame, feeling the cool surface beneath your fingers. The ocean continues its rhythm below. The ship's light remains distant, moving slowly, guided quietly. You do not guide it directly. You do not signal it actively. You simply remain. And that is enough. You stand there for a while, your body still, your breath calm. Responsibility here does not feel heavy. It does not press against you. It exists gently, within the rhythm of your presence. You shift slightly, a small movement, barely noticeable. Your body adjusts, finding an even deeper sense of comfort. Your breathing remains slow, in and out. You do not need to check the light immediately. You do not need to look outward constantly. Everything is already in motion, already continuing. Your role is not to control it, only to remain within it. You rise slowly from where you sit, your movement smooth, unforced. Your feet meet the floor gently, your posture steady. You take a few slow steps, moving toward the lantern, not quickly, not with concern, only with quiet intention. You stop beside it, your gaze resting softly upon the flame. It moves gently, not flickering, only breathing in its own steady rhythm. You observe it for a moment. Nothing has changed. Nothing needs correction. And still, you remain present. Your hand lifts slightly, hovering near the structure, not touching, only close enough to feel the warmth. You pause, then slowly lower your hand again. No adjustment is needed. The act of checking is enough. You take a slow breath. This is how the responsibility moves. Not through constant action, but through quiet awareness. Through presence that does not sleep completely, yet does not strain. You turn slightly, your gaze moving once more toward the horizon. The ocean remains, dark, calm, unchanged. A faint light appears in the distance. Small, steady. A ship. Far away. You do not follow it closely. You simply acknowledge it. It is there. And because it is there, the light you maintain has meaning. You take another breath, in and out. The awareness deepens, not sharply, only settling, like the night itself. You walk slowly toward the window, your steps soft, measured. You rest your hand lightly near the frame, feeling the cool surface beneath your fingers. The ocean continues its rhythm below. The ship's light remains distant, moving slowly, guided quietly. You do not guide it directly. You do not signal it
You remain seated, your body still, your breathing slow and even. The lantern beside you continues its gentle glow, steady, unchanging. The ocean below moves in its quiet rhythm, waves rising and falling without interruption. Nothing marks the hour, nothing counts the minutes. Time is not measured here. It is felt. You take a slow breath, in and out. Your chest rises softly, then settles again. The movement is unhurried. There is no need to track it. You do not look for a clock. There is none. There has never been one here. The night does not divide itself into numbers. It continues in one long, unbroken flow. You lift your gaze slightly, your eyes resting gently within the room. The light remains as it was, steady, calm. You do not notice when it began. You do not anticipate when it will end. It simply continues. You take another slow breath. Your awareness begins to shift, not outward, but inward. You notice the rhythm of your body, the quiet movement of breath, the soft rise and fall. You remain with it, without changing it, without guiding it, only observing. The passage of time reveals itself differently here, not through sound, not through movement of hands, but through repetition. You notice how often you breathe, not counting, only feeling each cycle flowing into the next, in and out, again and again. You shift slightly, a small adjustment, barely noticeable. Your body settles deeper, more relaxed, more at ease. The floor beneath you remains steady, unchanged. You take another breath. The air feels the same, cool, balanced, consistent. There is no sign of passing hours, no change in light, no shift in temperature, only continuity. You close your eyes gently, not to sleep, only to rest them. The darkness behind your eyes feels soft, quiet, unchanging. The sound of the ocean becomes more present now, not louder, but clearer. A slow rhythm, repeating, without variation. You listen. Wave, pause, wave, pause. The pattern continues, unbroken. You take another slow breath.
Your breathing begins to align with it again. In as the wave approaches, out as it fades. Time moves within this rhythm, not ahead of it, not behind it, but through it. You remain still, your body supported, your mind quiet. Thoughts appear, soft, distant. They do not form clearly. They do not stay. They drift, then fade, like the mist over the sea. You do not follow them. You return to the breath, to the rhythm, to the quiet flow. After a while, without knowing how long, you open your eyes again. The room looks the same. The light remains steady. The night beyond the windows is unchanged. No time has passed, and yet something has deepened. You take a slow breath. Your body feels heavier, not with weight, but with rest, as if time has softened you without effort. You rise slowly, your movement smooth, unhurried. There is no need to rush. There is no time to catch. You take a few steps across the room, your feet quiet, your posture relaxed. You move toward the window, not to check, only to observe. The ocean remains, dark, calm, endless. A distant light moves slowly across the horizon. You do not know when it appeared. You do not know how long it has been there. It simply is. You watch it briefly, your gaze soft, unfixed. Then your attention drifts again, widening, returning to the whole. You take another slow breath. Time here is not something you move through. It is something you rest within. You turn slowly, your gaze returning to the lantern. The flame continues, steady, unchanged. You approach it, your steps soft, familiar. A small check, a slight adjustment, barely needed. Then stillness. The action is complete, without effort, without urgency. You step back. The cycle continues, without beginning, without end. You return to your place, lowering yourself slowly into rest once more. Your body settles, your breathing softens again. In and out. The rhythm remains. The environment remains. Nothing signals change. Nothing divides the night. You are not waiting for anything. You are not moving toward anything. You are simply here, present, within a moment that does not pass, but gently continues. You take another slow breath. Your thoughts grow quieter, slower, fewer. There is nothing to hold on to, nothing to remember, nothing to anticipate. Only the breath, only the rhythm, only the stillness. Time dissolves, not disappearing, but softening, losing its edges, its boundaries. You remain floating gently within it, without resistance, without awareness of before or after. The lantern glows, the ocean moves, the night surrounds you,
and everything continues without measure. And as the quiet rhythm carries on, and the sense of time fades into stillness, you find yourself resting more deeply within a moment that has no beginning, no end, only calm, only presence, only the soft, endless passage of time, without clocks.
You remain within the lantern room, your body calm, your breathing slow and even. The light beside you continues its gentle glow, steady, unchanging. The ocean below moves in its quiet rhythm, soft, distant, endless. Nothing asks for urgency. Nothing interrupts the stillness. And within this calm, a simple need appears. You take a slow breath, in and out, a quiet awareness of nourishment, not sharp, not demanding, only present. You rise slowly, your movement smooth, unhurried. Your feet meet the floor gently, your posture steady. You take a few soft steps across the room, toward a small, familiar place. A simple area, used for quiet preparation. Nothing elaborate, only what is needed. Your hand reaches forward, resting lightly upon the surface. It feels cool, steady, unchanged. You pause there for a moment, your breath slow, your body relaxed. Then, gently, you begin. You gather a few simple items, moving them one at a time, without haste. Each object is handled with care, placed softly, aligned naturally. There is no rush in your hands, only intention and calm repetition. You take another slow breath. The air in the room holds a faint warmth near the lantern, balanced by the coolness drifting in from the windows. You begin a small preparation, a simple motion, repeated, again and again. Your hands move slowly, with quiet familiarity. Nothing complicated, nothing requiring focus, only gentle action, flowing with your breath. The sound is soft, barely noticeable, a faint contact, a quiet movement. It does not disturb the silence. It becomes part of it. You pause for a moment, your hands resting lightly. You take a breath, in and out. Then continue. Another small movement, another quiet adjustment. The preparation unfolds slowly, without change in pace, without interruption. The light remains steady beside you, casting a soft glow across your hands, across the simple surface. You do not look directly at it. You feel it, its warmth, its presence, its calm. After some time, without counting it, the preparation reaches its natural end. Nothing dramatic, nothing sudden, only a quiet sense of completion. You pause, your hands still, your breath slow. Then, you gather what you have prepared, lifting it gently, holding it with care. You move slowly across the room,
toward a place where you can sit. Your steps remain soft, measured, unchanging. You lower yourself gradually, your body settling into a comfortable position. Your hands rest before you, holding this simple meal. You take a moment before beginning. A pause, a breath, in and out. The ocean continues below, its rhythm steady, unchanged. The lantern glows beside you, quiet, constant. You bring the food closer, your movement slow, natural. The first taste is simple, not strong, not overwhelming, only gentle, familiar, sustaining. You do not eat quickly. There is no need. Each motion is slow, intentional, unhurried. You take another small portion, then pause, breathing, feeling the warmth, the texture, the quiet nourishment. The act of eating becomes part of the rhythm, like breathing, like the waves below. You continue, slowly, one small movement at a time. There is no distraction, no interruption, only this simple act, repeated gently, within the calm. You take a breath between each motion, in and out. Your body receives the nourishment quietly, without urgency, without demand. You remain relaxed, your posture soft, your shoulders at ease. The environment does not change. The night remains, the ocean continues. The light glows steadily. Everything supports this moment, without needing to shift. You continue eating, slowly, until the meal begins to fade, naturally, without awareness of when it will end. Eventually, the last small portion is taken, not with finality, not with conclusion, only as part of the quiet flow. You pause, your hands resting again, now empty, light. You take a deeper breath, in, holding gently, then out, slowly, completely. Your body feels warm, nourished, at ease. There is no heaviness, only a quiet satisfaction, soft, settled. You remain seated for a moment longer, allowing everything to rest. The ocean continues its distant rhythm. The lantern remains steady. The night remains unchanged. You rise slowly once more, your movement calm, unhurried. You return the simple items, placing them back, one by one, with the same care as before. Each movement is gentle, precise, without effort. Nothing is left out of place. Nothing is rushed. When the space is as it was, you pause again. Your hands come to rest lightly, then fall to your sides. You take a slow breath, in and out. The act is complete, and yet nothing has ended. The rhythm continues. You step back into the open space of the lantern room, your body relaxed, your breathing steady. The light glows beside you.
The ocean moves below, and you remain quiet, present, nourished, within the gentle continuation of the night. And as everything settles once more into stillness, you feel the simple comfort of having taken what was needed and given nothing more, allowing the moment to remain soft, complete, and at ease.
You remain within the lantern room, your body at ease, your breathing slow and even. The light beside you continues its soft glow, steady, unchanging. The ocean below moves in its quiet rhythm, waves rising and falling without interruption. Nothing calls for action now. Nothing asks for attention, only the quiet presence of the night. You take a slow breath, in and out. Your gaze rests softly near the window, not focused, not searching. The horizon remains distant, soft, almost blending into the sky. And within this stillness, something begins to move, not outside, but within. A memory, or perhaps a story. You do not know where it begins. You do not try to define it. It appears gently, like mist over the sea. You remain still, allowing it to unfold without effort. You take another slow breath. The stories of this place are never told loudly. They are not spoken in detail. They are carried softly through time, passed from presence to presence, without words needing to be exact. You shift slightly, a small movement, barely noticeable. Your body remains relaxed, supported, at ease. The light continues, steady beside you. The story begins, not with a moment, but with a feeling. A long time ago, someone stood here just as you do now, not different, not separate, only present within the same quiet space. You do not see them clearly. You do not imagine details, only a soft sense of someone standing, watching, breathing as you are. The lantern glowed then, as it does now. The ocean moved, as it does now. The night stretched endlessly, as it does now. You take a slow breath, in and out. The presence fades slightly, not disappearing, only drifting further into the background. Another story begins. A ship, far out at sea, moving slowly through the darkness. No sound, no urgency, only the steady motion of water beneath it. The light from this tower reaching outward, touching the distance, quietly guiding. You do not see the ship clearly, only a faint suggestion, a soft outline moving, then fading. You remain still. The story does not continue. It simply rests, as if it has always existed. You take another breath. The ocean below continues. Wave, pause, wave, pause. A different feeling rises now, softer, closer. A quiet legend, not told, but felt. They say that the lighthouse does not belong to one keeper alone, that each presence here leaves something behind, not objects, not marks, only a trace of stillness, of breath, of quiet attention. You do not question this, you do not confirm it, you simply allow the thought to exist, lightly, without weight.
You take a slow breath, in and out. Your body remains relaxed, your posture soft. The lantern continues its steady glow, unchanged. You close your eyes gently, not to sleep, only to listen. The ocean becomes clearer again, a soft rhythm, repeating endlessly. Within that rhythm, another story drifts. A night like this, long ago, still, calm, unchanging. The same sound of waves, the same quiet air, the same light, steady in the darkness. You take another breath. The story fades without ending. Another begins. A faint light in the distance, seen through mist, barely visible. A moment of uncertainty, then clarity as the lighthouse stands, unchanged, steady, guiding without movement. You do not feel tension in this story. There is no urgency, only quiet resolution through presence. You open your eyes slowly. The room remains the same. The light glows softly. The ocean continues below. Nothing has changed, and yet the stories remain. Not fully remembered, not clearly told, only carried within the stillness. You take a slow breath. Your body feels heavier, more relaxed, more settled. The stories do not demand attention. They do not continue endlessly. They appear and then rest, just as everything else does. You shift slightly, your movement soft, unhurried. Your gaze returns gently to the horizon. The night remains vast, quiet, endless. No new shapes appear, no new sounds rise, only the same steady rhythm. You take another breath, in and out. The legends of this place are not separate from the present. They do not live in the past. They exist quietly within each moment of stillness, within each breath, within each pause, within each quiet observation. You remain where you are, not holding on to the stories, not searching for more, only allowing them to settle like the mist over the sea. The lantern glows beside you. The ocean moves below. The night surrounds you, and the stories rest gently within it all. And as the quiet continues, and the rhythm of the sea carries on without change, the stories fade softly into the stillness, leaving only calm, only presence, only the gentle feeling that everything has been and continues to be exactly as it should.
You remain within the lantern room, your body at ease, your breathing slow and even. The light beside you continues its gentle glow, steady, unchanging. The ocean below moves in its quiet rhythm, soft, distant, endless. Nothing calls for movement now. Nothing asks for attention. Only rest, soft and present. You take a slow breath, in and out. Your chest rises gently, then settles again, without effort. Your body begins to feel heavier, not in discomfort, but in release, as if each breath softens something, loosens something that no longer needs to be held. You shift slightly, a small movement, barely noticeable. Your shoulders drop just a little more. Your hands rest loosely, your fingers relaxed. There is no tension left to hold. You take another slow breath. The air moves quietly through you, cool, steady, unchanging. Your eyes begin to soften, not closing yet, but no longer focused. The edges of the room feel distant, blurred, gentle. The lantern light becomes warmer, softer, less defined. The ocean sound continues. Wave, pause, wave, pause. Your breathing follows naturally, without thought. In and out. You allow your eyes to close slowly, not all at once, but gently, as if they are simply resting. The darkness behind them feels calm, safe, unchanging. You do not try to sleep. You simply rest. Your body settles deeper, supported by the stillness around you. The light remains beside you, steady, present, even when unseen. You take another slow breath. Your chest rises, then falls, long, slow, complete. Your thoughts become softer now, less frequent, less defined. They appear, then fade, without needing attention. Like distant waves, they come and go. You remain with the breath, with the rhythm, with the quiet. Your body feels warm, not from heat, but from comfort. A gentle warmth that spreads slowly, without effort. You sink deeper into it, without moving, without trying. The ocean continues below, steady, predictable, unchanging. The sound blends into the silence, becoming part of the stillness rather than separate from it. You take another breath, in and out. The rhythm continues, soft, endless. Time no longer feels present. There is no sense of before, no sense of after. Only this moment, stretching gently, without edge, without limit. Your body grows heavier still, your muscles fully at rest, your breathing slow and deep. You do not need to adjust. You do not need to move. Everything is already as it should be. The lantern continues its quiet glow. The ocean continues its endless motion. The night remains calm, wide, and still. You take another slow breath. Your chest rises, then falls, long, slow, complete. Your body feels fully at rest now, supported, safe, at ease. The light remains. The ocean continues. The night holds everything gently, without effort, without change. You do not need to think. You do not need to observe. You do not need to remain aware. Only to rest, softly, deeply, completely. The rhythm continues without you, and with you at the same time. You drift further into calm, into stillness, into quiet. The breath slows, the body softens, the mind quiets. Nothing remains to be done. Nothing remains to be held. Only rest. And as the night continues in its gentle, endless rhythm, and the lantern glows softly beside you, you remain still, quiet, at ease, resting deeply within the calm, until even the sense of resting fades gently into sleep. You remain in stillness, your body resting. your breathing slow and deep. The night has not ended suddenly. It has softened, gradually, almost without being noticed. You take a slow breath, in and out. Your chest rises gently, then settles again. There is no urgency to wake, no need to move quickly. Only a quiet shift within the air, within the light, within you. Behind your closed eyes, darkness begins to change, not disappearing, but becoming lighter, softer, less complete. You remain still, allowing this change to unfold on its own. Your breathing continues, slow, steady, unchanged. The ocean below still moves, its rhythm constant, endless. Wave, pause, wave, pause. You take another breath. The air feels slightly different now. Not warmer, not cooler, only touched by something new. A faint presence of light. You do not open your eyes yet. You remain within the calm, letting the moment deepen without interruption. Your body begins to feel lighter, not fully awake, not fully resting, somewhere between. A quiet balance. You take another slow breath, in and out. Your chest shifts slightly, a small movement, barely noticeable. Your shoulders adjust, just enough to release what remains of stillness. You do not rush. You do not sit up quickly. You allow the body to wake in its own time. The light within the room begins to change. The lantern still glows, steady, soft, but something else begins to join it. A faint gray touching the edges of the windows. The first sign of dawn. You open your eyes slowly, not all at once, but gently, as if continuing the same calm from the night. The room appears, soft, muted. The lantern light is still present, but no longer alone. The outside world begins to emerge, very slowly. You take a breath. Your gaze rests near the window, soft, unfocused. The horizon is no longer hidden. It appears, faint, subtle, a soft line between sea and sky. There is no color yet, only a quiet brightness, spreading gently. You remain where you are, your body still, your breathing steady. Nothing asks for action yet, only awareness. The ocean continues below, unchanged, steady, endless. The sound remains the same, soft, predictable. You take another breath, in and out. Your body begins to rise slowly, not suddenly, not with effort, but with a natural movement. You remain in stillness, your body resting, your breathing slow and deep. The night has not ended suddenly. It has softened, gradually, almost without being noticed. You take a slow breath, in and out. Your chest rises gently, then settles again. There is no urgency to wake, no need to move quickly. Only a quiet shift within the air, within the light, within you. Behind your closed eyes, darkness begins to change, not disappearing, but becoming lighter, softer, less complete. You remain still, allowing this change to unfold on its own. Your breathing continues, slow, steady, unchanged. The ocean below still moves, its rhythm constant, endless. Wave, pause, wave, pause. You take another breath. The air feels slightly different now. Not warmer, not cooler, only touched by something new. A faint presence of light. You do not open your eyes yet. You remain within the calm, letting the moment deepen without interruption. Your body begins to feel lighter, not fully awake, not fully resting, somewhere between. A quiet balance. You take another slow breath, in and out. Your chest shifts slightly, a small movement, barely noticeable. Your shoulders adjust, just enough to release what remains of stillness. You do not rush. You do not sit up quickly. You allow the body to wake in its own time. The light within the room begins to change. The lantern still glows, steady, soft, but something else begins to join it. A faint gray touching the edges of the windows. The first sign of dawn. You open your eyes slowly, not all at once, but gently, as if continuing the same calm from the night. The room appears soft, muted. The lantern light is still present, but no longer alone. The outside world begins to emerge, very slowly. You take a breath. Your gaze rests near the window, soft, unfocused. The horizon is no longer hidden. It appears faint, subtle, a soft line between sea and sky. There is no color yet, only a quiet brightness spreading gently. You remain where you are, your body still, your breathing steady. Nothing asks for action yet, only awareness. The ocean continues below, unchanged, steady, endless. The sound remains the same, soft, predictable. You take another breath, in and out. Your body begins to rise slowly, not suddenly, not with effort, but with a natural movement, as if guided by the same rhythm that carried you through the night. You sit up gently, your posture steady, your shoulders relaxed. You pause there, allowing the body to adjust, to return, without tension. The light outside grows slightly, still soft, still muted, but present. You place your feet on the floor, slowly, carefully. The surface feels familiar, cool, steady. You rise to stand, your movement smooth, unhurried. You take a few quiet steps toward the lantern. Your body remembers, without needing to think. The flame continues, steady, gentle. You pause beside it, your gaze soft. The night has not ended. It has only changed form. You lift your hand slowly, bringing it close to the flame, not touching,
only feeling the warmth. You take a breath. Then, gently, you begin the next step. A small adjustment, a careful movement. Nothing sudden. The flame responds, softly, calmly. You do not extinguish it quickly. You allow it to soften, to settle, to rest. The light becomes smaller, quieter, until it is no longer needed. You lower your hand slowly. The lantern remains, but its role has changed. You take a breath. The room feels different now. Not empty, only lighter. The outside world